Screen is not reflected. Correct. Sorry. Yes.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। नमो ब्रह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणाहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
करोति वाचनं पंगुं लगायते कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवं। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम। Hare Krishna. Maataji, how are you? How is everybody? So, Hare Krishna, Lilananda Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to everybody.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, always to Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Thank you for today's class.
So let's start with the 6.7.1, the sixth canto, seventh chapter. This chapter, the canto itself is called "The Prescribed Duties of Mankind." So I say that's a beautiful title actually of all the cantos. This canto tells you the duties of mankind. The duties of mankind means what, as per scriptures, the mankind is supposed to do with only one goal in mind. The goal is to reach the Godhead, basically, to reach the Godhead. So what kind of duties mankind has to perform to get to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? In that, we are talking about the seventh chapter where Indra offends his spiritual master Brihaspati. So we have seen the first sloka in which Maharaj Parikshit is inquiring Sukadeva Goswami what actually happened, what is the problem, why did there a situation, why did such a situation has to arise where Brihaspati has disowned all his disciples, the Devatas, the Lord Indra and his disciples. Then let's start reading few purports, few translations, and then we'll get into purports. I'm going to read this, the 2 to 8 purport, 2 to 8 translation, where Sukadeva Goswami starts to answer. Sukadeva Goswami said, "O king, once upon a time, the king of heaven, Indra, being extremely proud because of his great opulence of 3 worlds." Hare Krishna. So this is the first thing we have to start recording ourselves. Not Indra, King Indra, king of heaven, Indra has become extremely proud of his great opulences. See, this is what happens to most of us. We become proud of our own opulences. So, of the 3 worlds, transgressed the law of Vedic etiquette, though he has become master of the Vedic etiquette, but still the way he became proud, that's the thing we have to note down here. Seated on his throne, he was surrounded by all his people, by the Maruts, Vasus, Rudras, Adityas, everybody basically, the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, everybody, all surrounding him were Vidyadharas, Apsaras, Kinnaras, everybody are surrounded. All of them were offering Indra their respects and services. And the Apsaras and Gandharvas are dancing and singing with very sweet musical instruments. See what brings the opulences to him basically. What kind of opulences are contributing to his proudness basically. Over Indra's head was the white umbrella, as effulgent as the full moon itself, fanned by yak-tails, whisks, and served with all paraphernalia of great king. Indra was sitting with his wife Sachi Devi, who occupied half the throne. When the great sage Brihaspati appeared in that assembly, Brihaspati, the best of the sages, was the spiritual master of Indra and the demigods, and was respected by the demigods and the demons alike. He's been respected by demigods and the demons alike. Here again, you have to use the word. Even demons knows how to respect. Nevertheless, although Indra saw his spiritual master before him, he did not rise from his own seat or offer a seat to his spiritual master, nor did Indra offer him a respectful welcome. Indra did not show him the respect, period, basically. So what happened? Indra was carried away by his opulences and he failed to show his respect. Hare Krishna. So what was the consequence of that? We'll see in the next shlokas. So I'm going to shloka number 12, right? So again, here it describes a little more few things, but let's skip few slokas and let's go to shloka number 12. So here again, if you look at the 11th shloka here, so what happens after that is Brihaspati understands what happened. He visualizes the thing that what Indra did, and he just leaves the place. He just leaves the courtyard. At that point of time, Indra starts to understand. If you look at the 10th sloka, Indra, the king of heaven, could immediately understand his mistake, realizing that he had disrespected his spiritual master. He condemned himself in the presence of all members of the assembly. So now here you have to learn a few things. This is the place where Indra has got himself carried away by the proudness, then he realizes this is the place I have to surrender myself. And then he starts feeling the pain of what action he did. And he starts to condemn himself in the presence of all members of the assembly. Alas, what a regrettable deed I have committed because of my lack of intelligence and my pride in my material opulence. I failed to show respect to my spiritual master when he entered the assembly, and thus I have insulted him. From here, again, the 12th shloka, we'll read the shloka, and here, from here onwards, Srila Prabhupada and explains us the beautiful purports of how we should behave and explains us what our prescribed duty should be. Hare Krishna, we'll read 12th shloka.
Text 12. Ko gridhyet pandito lakshmim tripistapapaterapi yayaham asuram bhavam nito adya vibudheshvaraha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, will anybody wants to repeat it? Read it out. The Sanskrit verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Ko grudye pandito lakshmi tripishta papaterapi yaya hamasuram bhavam netodhya vibhudeshvaraha.
Hare Krishna. Hare. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? One more, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Vijay Mataji, you want to read it?
Ko grudye pandito lakshmim tripishta terapi yaya hamasuram bhavam nitodhya vibhudeshvaraha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's go, Amma. Venila Mataji can read the next one. Okay. So here, although I am king of demigods who are situated in the mode of goodness, I was proud of a little opulence and polluted by false ego. Under the circumstances, who in this world would accept such riches at the risk of falling down? Alas, I condemn my wealth and opulence. Hare Krishna. See here, Indra starts to realize the mistake that happened. He clearly says that I am king of demigods who are situated in the mode of goodness. Again, here you should understand, even though the king of demigods, Indra, the devatas are all in the mode of goodness. But a person even in the mode of goodness can also fall down because of the pride of the opulences and polluted by my false ego. Hare Krishna. So we always keep saying this, right? See, the three modes of material nature are always there in the materialistic world. So how we tame the three modes of material nature, or how we keep ourselves away from the Maya, the Prakriti, is in our hands, right? That's the only the fundamental goal, basically, that has to be. See, here the king of demigods, who is in the mode of goodness, got himself carried away by the proud of the opulence and got polluted by false ego. So once the false ego got polluted, saying like, I am the one who is in charge of this kingdom, or in charge of this Swargaloka, then that even brought the king, like the person Indra, who is always in the mode of goodness, down. We always keep saying in our classes, it's not that Sattva-guna, but it's the Suddha Sattva-guna that is needed to reach the God, because only Suddha Sattva-guna can help you tame that false ego, that can help you put your intelligence, put your mind, and put your senses in the right perception that will take you to the Godhead. Under these circumstances, who in this world would accept such riches? That's what circumstances? The circumstance in which he has fallen down. He has realized that he has fallen down. At that point of time, I do not need any of these riches, because falling down is a bitter thing that's happening. That's worse than, not at the cost of these riches. Alas, I condemn my wealth and opulence. The wealth and opulence that created the false ego, that created the prideness in my false ego, is something that I want to condemn immediately, is what Lord Indra has started to realize. We will read Srila Prabhupada purport on this one. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Hare Krishna. Oh my Lord, I do not aspire for material opulence or wealth, nor do I want great number of followers to accept me as their leader, nor do I want very beautiful wife to please me. These are not the things that I should be satisfied with. At the cost of what? At the cost of falling down. Because dhanam, janam, sundarim, even kavitam, even means even the beautiful language, of the flowery language of literature, all of these things can help or can feed at one or other point the false ego, that can generate the pride in my false ego. This is not what I want. Mama janmane janmanishwara bhagavad bhaktir ahaitik. I do not even want liberation. This is not even liberation, is what I want. All I want, life after life, is to be faithful servant of your Lordship. That's what puts you in the Suddha Sattva Guna, basically. That what is that? That is the serving the Lord at any cost. No, making ourselves, taming our intelligence, taming our mind, taming our ego to a point of serving the Lord unconditionally at every time, all the time, is what puts us in Suddha Sattva Guna. Why? What does that mean by putting it in Suddha Sattva Guna? That is what alone can put you away from Maya. According to the laws of nature, when one is extremely opulent, one becomes degraded. And this is true both individually and collectively. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So success can bring, according to the laws of nature. Again, laws of nature means Prakriti. When one is extremely opulent, one becomes degraded. The moment you are enjoying your richness, enjoying followers, enjoying praise, that is going to either individually or collectively. So why the word collectively is used is basically he's trying to refer to that so-called developed societies, basically the rich societies, the gated communities, basically. So these collectively, that opulence can easily put you into a pride movement that is going to throw you down, basically. The demigods are situated in the mode of goodness, but sometimes even one who is situated in such an exalted position as Lord Indra, the king of the demigods, falls down because of material opulence. Hare Krishna. We are now actually seeing this in America. So again, the word America was used because Srila Prabhupada, when he was writing this, he was in America, and he was looking at that point of time, in that period of time, America is considered to be more well advanced and developed country. But today, I guess you can easily replace that word with the rest of the world, or India, or in our lives, or Gachibowli, basically. The entire American nation has tried to advance in material opulence without striving to produce ideal human beings. The result is that Americans are now regretting the wholesale criminality of American society, and are wondering how America has become so lawless and unmanageable. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Nathe vidu swadhagatim hi Vishnu. So what persons who are unentangled do not know the aim of unenlightened do not know the aim of life, which is to return home back to the Godhead. Therefore, both individually and collectively, they try to enjoy the so-called material comforts, and they become addicted to wine and women. The men produced in such a society are less than fourth class. So here Bhagavad Gita explains us the four varnashrama dharma. Here Prabhupada is saying, if you, because of this richness, we are not following any of the four classes, and we are coming down to something called fifth class beyond the first four classes, basically. So this is what he is trying to say. Divide into first, unless we follow the varnashrama dharma, divide the men into four classes. Since they are now creating only men who are less than the fourth class, how can they avoid the dangers of criminal society? Long ago, Lord Indra regretted his disrespect to his spiritual master, Brihaspati. Similarly, it is advised that American people regret their mistaken advancement in civilization. They should take advice from the spiritual master, that is representative of Krishna. If they do so, then they will be happy, and there will be an ideal nation to lead the entire world. Hare Krishna. Unless we take the shelter of the spiritual master, there is not going to be progress in any society. That's the only way one can help rebuild the Varnashrama Dharma. Until we rebuild the Varnashrama Dharma, you are going to be putting yourself into a class which is called the fifth class beyond the four classes, is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And this can happen only with the help of a guru, when you surrender to your guru. Hare Krishna. Can somebody read the meaning translation of 13th shloka?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Giriraj Prabhu.
You mean translation, huh?
Yes, the translation.
Thank you. If a person says, one who is situated on the exalted throne of a king should not stand up to show respect to another king or brahmana, it is to be understood that he does not know the superior religious principles.
Hare Krishna. So this applies to even guru, right? If we do not know how to show respect to our guru, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, any guru basically, then we are not following any religious principles. Right? Here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada further writes down, there are many examples of how he should act. When Lord Krishna was sitting on his throne and Narada fortunately enters his assembly, even Lord Krishna immediately stood up with his officers and ministers to offer respectable obeisances to Narada. Narada knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna knew that Narada was his devotee. But although Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Narada is the Lord's devotee, the Lord observed the religious etiquette. Hare Krishna. So it is not to satisfy one's ego or anything, but the religious principles are saying, have set together the etiquette of respecting Guru, and this has been shown with an example of even how Lord Krishna himself has done this. Hare Krishna. So we will move further. We're not going to read the entire parts. So next 14 shloka, let's read. Prabhuji, somebody who reads this 14 shloka meaning, translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, Praveen Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Leaders who have fallen into ignorance and who mislead people by directing them to the path of destruction, as described in the previous verse, are in effect boarding a stone boat, and so too are those who blindly follow them. A stone boat would be unable to float and would sink in the water with its passengers. Similarly, those who mislead people go to hell and their followers go with them. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So leaders who have fallen into ignorance. So now, so far in the previous slokas, we have seen the state of disciples. Here in the Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, leaders who have fallen into ignorance and who mislead people by directing them to the path of destruction, they're compared to rock boats. Rock boat is something that does not float. But if you follow a wrong guru, again, if you follow a wrong guru, you are like trying to take a rock boat and try to sail through the ocean of materialistic world to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that does not happen. So you have to follow the right leaders. Here at this state of mind, at this state, the Lord Indra himself can be considered as a leader who is like a rock boat, because he's in a state of fallen. Basically, he's fallen to ignorance. Basically, so that's what Srila Prabhupada is, again, the Bhagavatam is saying. So we'll skip this purport also, and the 15th purport again we will read. Hare Krishna. Can somebody read this translation for me, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. King Indra said, therefore, with great frankness and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of demigods, because he is in the mode of goodness. He is fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of all brahmanas. Now I shall touch his lotus feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him.
Hare Krishna. So now Indra has realized. So what happened? Indra is saying all these things in the courtship, in the place where he has actually insulted his guru. At that point of time, he's again saying, no, this is the only way I can get out of this. Is now I have to go and offer my obeisances unto him and satisfy him, touch his feet and please him again, and establish that relationship back to him. So let's read through Srila Prabhupada purport, Prabhuji's Mataji's. Will somebody read this purport for me, Prabhuji's?
లేదు లేదు మేము actually
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
చదువుతారమ్మా.
Coming to his senses, King Indra realized that he was not a very sincere disciple of his spiritual master Brihaspati. Therefore, he decided that henceforward he would be Nishata, non-duplicitous, Nishata, Sprusna Tak Charanam Spasan. He decided to touch his head to the feet of his spiritual master. From this example, we should learn this principle enunciated by Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura. Yasyas prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasyat prasadan nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement.
Hare Krishna. By the mercy of spiritual master, one is benedicted by mercy of Krishna. So the spiritual master is the link between disciple and Krishna. Only by the mercy of spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. A disciple should never be hypocritic or be unfaithful to his spiritual master. In Bhagavatam, again it's explained, the spiritual master is also called Acharya. Right? The spiritual master is also called Acharya. Acharyam mam vijaniyan. Okay? The Supreme Personality of Godhead says that one should respect the spiritual master, accepting him as the Lord himself. Again, one should not disrespect Acharya at any time. One should never think Acharya as an ordinary person. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, but one should be very careful in one's dealings with Acharya. The Acharya is a perfect Brahmana and has unlimited intelligence in guiding the activities of disciple. Again, let me read this shloka from Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Who wants to read this shloka? Everybody wants to read this shloka, I think, right?
Okay, easy Prabhuji. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upatekshanti te gnanam gnanina tattvadarshinaha.
Correct. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. One should fully surrender unto spiritual master, and with service, sevaya, one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. Hare Krishna. So we have seen the shloka from Bhagavad Gita where it explains, Lord Krishna himself explains how we should surrender to the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. See, this is what this shloka is saying, and how exactly Lord Indra behaved compared to the spiritual, what Lord Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Yes, that's fine. Inquire from him submissively. That submissiveness is what carried away with the crowd of opulence, and render a service unto him, which is what Indra totally forgot. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth, and that's the understanding we should always continuously have towards the spiritual master. One should fully surrender unto the spiritual master, and with service one should approach him, and with service one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. Again, in this purport we have seen where Srila Prabhupada was saying the only way one can cross the ocean, materialistic ocean, is with the mercy of the Guru. There is no alternate arrangement. There is no alternate. So in this day and days, everybody, when we try to tell them something, see the way the materialistic world and the way the whole education system has come to is, we wanted to know first hand. So that's what we teach in schools, right? Experiments, do it yourself. So what is happening in that process? What is happening is, everybody wants to trust God only when you see Him first hand. And that doesn't happen there are multiple steps to that point, and nobody is realizing those steps. And one of that step is you have to surrender to the Guru. Unless you surrender to the Guru, the Guru is the one who can teach, who can get to a point where you can see God. But people want to start believing in God only once they see the God. So that's where that's not what it helps. The way it helps is one should fully surrender unto the spiritual master, and with service one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. So problem is today people don't have so much of patience, but there is no other shortcut towards progress in spiritual, to make any spiritual progress. The only way to make spiritual progress is with this surrender. And that's what Lord Krishna has clearly said in Bhagavad Gita, and we are seeing it in this example, in the story of Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So what happens, the further story, what happens is, then Indra tries to reach out to Brihaspati, but Brihaspati himself, knowing that what Indra is trying to do, he disappears. He completely disappears with his mystic power, with his yogic power. He becomes invisible to Indra, and he leaves home. For Brihaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. Not knowing what to do, King Indra comes back to heaven, but Dhanavas knowing this, the Asuras knowing this, the demons knowing this, they come. See, again, if you look at 18th shloka, hearing the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons following the instructions of their Guru, Sukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. Understanding. So the thing we should understand is, when we have moved away ourselves from the Guru, even demons can come and conquer you only because they have surrendered to their Guru Sukracharya. So they have realized that this is what happened to Indra, and they have said, okay, no, let's not do the mistake. Let's go and surrender ourselves to Sukracharya, and they come and conquer the heaven, basically. Not knowing what happens and what to do, then Indra approaches Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instruction, what to do, how to come back, how to restore the situation. And then we'll see some of the shlokas that Lord Brahma tells again the importance of Guru. So we'll go with shloka 21, Prohibition Mataji's. Niru will read the shloka.
Text 21. Shri Brahmo Vacha Aho Batasura Hiyabhadram Vakritam Mahat Brahmishtam Brahmanam Dantam Aishwaryanabhyanandata.
Hare Krishna. Somebody wants to read the translation, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Balamani Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently towards him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Lord Brahma realizes what happened, and he's telling Indra, so this is not how you should have behaved. Lord Brahma recognized the Brahmanical qualification of Brihaspati, who was the spiritual master demigod. Because of his awareness of Supreme Brahman, Brihaspati was much in control of his senses and mind, and therefore he was most qualified Brahmana. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting this Brahmana who was their Guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one's Guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. when Brihaspati entered the assembly of demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not need to show him special respect. Hare Krishna. So this is what we should be very careful about. Sometimes, we get very close to our gurus, Diksha Guru, and then we might fall into this kind of trap of, because we are so close, we missing to respect. This is something we should be very careful about. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting the Brahmana who was their guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. When Brihaspati entered the assembly of demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very much displeased, Brihaspati immediately left Indra's palace. Sometimes we get into this mode very quickly, basically, because sometimes Guru is so nice when we be with you very closely, but that should not under any circumstance should lead to a point where you are treating him like an ordinary person. Thus, all the demigods headed by Indra became offenders at the lotus feet of Brihaspati. The Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. In a song we sing every day, Narottama Das Thakur sings this song. What song is this? Janme Prabhu say. So we sang this song just before the class, right? The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore Guru should be considered his master life after life. Under no circumstances should Guru be disrespected, but the demigods, being puffed up by their material possessions, were disrespectful to their Guru. Therefore, again, Srimad Bhagavatam explains this. The Acharya should always be offered respectful obeisances. One should never envy the Acharya, considering him as an ordinary human being. Hare Krishna. Let's read through one or two more shloka meanings, right? 22, 23, and then we have a little more discussion. Because of your misbehavior towards Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? This is something we should understand ourselves. The moment when you lost your, something like that, we have this example in our SSR sessions where the Guru and the disciple, the connection between God and the disciple through Guru is explained with a power cable that is carrying the electricity from the factory to your house. So once that connection is broken, then you're automatically put into a darkness that which even demons were able to come and defeat you, who were otherwise defeated by the demigods for multiple times. The Devas are celebrated for fighting with Asuras perpetually. In such fights, the Asuras were always defeated, but this time the demigods were defeated. Why? The reason, as stated here, was that they had offended their spiritual master. Their impudent disrespect of their spiritual master was the cause of their defeat by the demons. As stated in Shastras, when one disrespects a respectable superior, one loses his longevity and the results of his pious activities, and in this way one is degraded. Once you disrespect your Guru, without your knowledge, you will fall down and you do not even realize. You did not see, again, Prohibition Mataji's, the moment you fall down, you will not even realize that you have fallen down until you have realized you have fallen down because of the opulences that are surrounded by you, and you start disconnecting yourself with those opulences. You see the thing from Mataji's? So you have a connection with your Guru, you are in a spiritual path, and then the materialistic opulences have somehow shadowed that particular relationship with Guru. Then these opulences will feed the false ego, And in that process, you become disrespectful to your guru and you fall down, and you do not even realize that you have fallen down until you start disowning the root cause of the reason that has fed your pride. The detachment to appearances has to happen, and then only you surrender, and then you regret, and then you start searching for connecting back the relationship with Guru. In this process, Indra was bewildered that he could not find where his Guru is, and then he went and reached Brahma, and Brahma explained. By this point, Indra has understood that the root cause of his falling down, and that's the thing we should also, each and every time we should keep ourselves questioning that. And because it's not easy for us, because we are not in a mode of goodness as much as the demigods are. We have to bring ourselves from the mode of ignorance to mode of goodness, and then understand the root cause of the reason why we are in that particular mode of disrespect to the Guru. Until we detach ourselves from that opulence of materialistic opulence, we cannot reconnect ourselves back to the Guru. Hare Krishna, let's get to the one more shloka, right? 23 shloka. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect to Sukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Sukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Sukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they are even able to easily seize my abode from me. Not only you, they can easily, they have got so much of power at this point that they can even take away things from me. This is what even Brahma is saying to the avatars, to again explain them the importance of their connection with Guru. Hare Krishna, let's go through the Srila Prabhupada purport. Lord Brahma wanted to point out to the demigods that by the strength of the Guru, one can become most powerful within this world, and by the displeasure of Guru, one can lose everything. This is confirmed by the song Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Again, Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada, Yasya Prasada Gati Kutopi. So we sing it in our morning prayers. By the mercy of spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. So again, by the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Although demons are insignificant in comparison to Lord Brahma, because of strength of their Guru, they were so powerful that they could even seize Brahmaloka from Lord Brahma. We therefore pray to the spiritual master. So here again, Lord Brahma is saying to demigods, let's now all pray to the spiritual master. Mukun Karoti Vachalam, Pangamam Lagayate, Yat Kripatamahum Vande Shri Guru, Dhinataram. Krishna, by the mercy of Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross the mountains, and advised by Lord Brahma. One should remember this sarcastic injunction, this sastric injunction, if one desires success in his life. Hare Krishna. So this is what Lord Brahma explained to the demigods and help them realize their mistake. Because of the firm determination to follow the instructions of Sukracharya, his disciples, the demons are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahmanas, cows, and the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, and who always worship these three, are always strong in their position. Krishna. So Brahma continues to teach the demigods the importance of Guru and the things that they should worship. Let's again go through Srila Prabhupada purport, small purport. Can somebody read this purport, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, I'll read.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Because of their firm determination.
Purport, Amma, can you read the purport from the instruction?
Okay. From the instructions of Lord Brahma, it is understood that everyone should very faithfully worship the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the cows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Go Brahmana Hitayacha. He is always very kind to cows and Brahmanas. Therefore, one who worships Govinda must satisfy him by worshipping the Brahmanas and cows. If a government worships the Brahmanas, the cows and Krishna, Govinda, it is never defeated anywhere. Otherwise, it must always be defeated and condemned everywhere. At the present moment, all over the world, the governments have no respect for Brahmanas, cows, and Govinda. And consequently, there are chaotic conditions all over the world. In summary, although the demigods were very powerful material opponents, the demons defeated them in battle because the demigods had behaved disrespectfully toward a Brahmana, Brahaspati, who was their spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, in absence of the spiritual master, Brahma is acting as their master in fixing their lives, right? So, Brahma is telling, so the importance of spiritual master and the things that people should worship to get to the lotus feet of the God, basically, right? We'll look at one more shloka meaning. That's the end of this one. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishwaroopa, the son of Tvashtra, and accept him as your guru. He is pure and very powerful Brahmana, undergoing austerity and penances. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desires, provided that you tolerate his being inclined to side with the demons. His being inclined to side with the demons. So again, like this is part of the story that continues, where now, because the demigods, the devatas have become without their spiritual master, Brahma is suggesting that they should go and reach out to Tvashta, and who's the Tvashta Tanayudu, son of Tvashta, Vishwaroopa, to approach them and approach him and request him to accept the spiritual master role for devatas. Again, the other part of Vishwaroopa is also very close to demons. That is something that the Dhanavas, the demigods, devatas are supposed to understand. And the story continues in a different way. But the thing that we need to understand here, by nature, how human beings, how we, even though we have started our spiritual journey, could easily get lost because of the three modes of material nature, to a point where we can easily fall and easily get ourselves disconnected by our guru, and we cannot get back that connection until we realize that we have fallen down, and we correct the reasons that are contributing to our fall down, and then start resurrendering ourselves, and then only you reconnect to your guru. In this case, though Indra were able to do that, they lost that opportunity of reconnecting back to their guru, and that happens even in our society, in our situations also. You take your own sweet time to realize by then the guru has moved on, or we have moved on. Basically, we have got separated in a physical location, and then we again have to have the mercy of God in finding another guru. In this case, Brahma is a direct son of God, or directly has come from Mahavishnu. So by the mercy of that God, they were able to find a guru. Again, at every point in Bhagavatam, we see how the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends his devotees to help his other devotees when they have fallen down, or when they are not in the right state of right path of spiritual progress. But are we really at a point where, if we are falling down, the Lord himself is going to send devotees in our state, in our path? Probably yes, if we are really in that state of mind where we have seen his mercy at one point or other, then the God himself will send devotees again to fix us. But that fixation will only happen if we have realize the reason for our fall down, and we have ourselves detached from that particular reason. Until that happens, we are not going to again reconnect or re-establish our connection with the Guru. Hare Krishna. So this is what my realization of the gist of what we have spoken so far. Before I go into the next piece of the discussion, are there any questions? Mataji, are there any questions, or is it all crystal clear, or it's all totally blurred?
All clear, Prabhuji.
All clear, Prabhuji. Praveen Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Vanilla Mataji, you are saying to say something?
Clear, Prabhu. Clear, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sachadev Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Dhanad Pranam. Prabhuji, for Indra, Brahma is there to guide. Like whenever he fall down, he went to Brahma and he asked for suggestions. But who is the Brahma for us in this world? Whenever we fall down, who should we go to?
So first and foremost, we should realize that we should not fall down because of the reason that we might have Brahma or we might not have Brahma, right? So Prabhu, that is exactly what I was also struggling with when I was reading this. The whole thing said everywhere there as reference to Lord Indra, it always said Devatas are in the mode of goodness. So probably the qualification for being able to get a Brahma in our life, you have to be in the mode of goodness at minimum. See what, Prabhuji? So this even tells there's even more the reason why we should not leave the feet of our spiritual master, our Guru. Only with the mercy of God, again, God sends Brahma. So again, I keep saying this. Before coming to ISKCON, I used to read a lot of books, and in the books, there is always reference to Guru and disciple and how Guru takes care of disciple. And I used to think, where do I find this Guru, the so-called Guru, basically that's being referenced in all the scriptures. Until I came to a point where I read, unless you are not ready, you will not find your Guru. So the Guru is always there. The Guru is always there. You have to find him means you have to be ready. What that being ready means, that being ready means getting into the mode of goodness, getting away from the mode of ignorance, getting away from the mode of passion, getting away from the results that are coming from your passion, being able to detach yourself from the opulences of the things that you have achieved. And the reason why I'm saying that you is because we think the opulence of the things around are the things that we have achieved. That we is coming from the false ego. So the things that we should worry about is how much we are being connected to our own false ego, how much we are getting connected and attached to the opulences are the things that we think we have achieved. The Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, these three things, right? Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim. And the knowledge that you are getting yourself connected to thinking that this is mine. As long as you are connected, you are not going to find your Brahma. The only moment that you have realized that these are the things that are not being able to get to the Guru or get connection with the master, the moment you realize that, and then you surrender to God, what do you call it, Krishna, the go, and the things that as mentioned in the purpose, then Krishna will send you that Brahma. Krishna will send you that disciple. Not necessarily be Brahma. It can be a messenger of Narada, a messenger of another Guru, another thing. But a pure devotee, this messenger will come to put you back onto the track, because that's an indication of you being ready, basically. Right, Prabhu? That's how I took it when I read this slokas.
We generally don't get Vapuseva from the spiritual master, because spiritual master may be away, and we only get Vani Seva. So we'll only listen to our spiritual master most of the time, at least in this situation currently, in these modern times. I mean, during our course of bhakti, like, is it always like we have to realize ourselves that, oh, I'm falling down from my situation, or somebody will guide us, like, okay, you are falling down, better control yourself, like how Brahma has guided Indra.
Prabhu, the guidance is always there. The guidance is always there. It is we are turning the light on or not. Okay, the guidance is always there until we turn that light on. So that has to come from ourselves. That has to come from ourselves. That even to realize that you have fallen, you have to put an effort to realize that basically. That will happen only the moment you are starting to realize that the ignorance part basically. The false ego part, that only once you are able to surrender that, once you are able to tame that, once you are able to get to a point of beyond that, then the urge comes for the Guru, and Guru is there. And will that Guru will always be physical form coming and doing your Gita Upadesam? Need not necessarily be, Prabhu. That message can be that morning WhatsApp message that's coming from Lilananda Prabhuji, the Amrit, this thing, the morning, the Amrit drop, this thing drops that Prabhuji is sending. There are a lot of occasions where I myself were distressed with something that I'm doing, and that morning message has actually put me back on the track, basically. Then probably immediately what I do is I try to make a call to Lilananda Prabhuji and try to fix my own mind, basically. So that happens, Prabhu. There's no doubt, Prabhu. At any point we have surrendered ourselves. At any point we have completely surrendered ourselves. And it's not, again, I keep saying the same thing in few classes. It is very easy to understand that you need to surrender and get to a state of mind of getting a relationship with God. To understand that is easy. To get to that point is also easy. But to stay in that state is very difficult. To stay in that state is very difficult. But if you have come to that point, and if you have at least experienced that once, twice, and then even if you're not able to continuously stay in that point, but if you're not falling down to a point where your false ego is overtaking your surrender to God, then you're getting into a fallen state. So again, this is what yesterday's Bhakti Shastri class also they explained. Prabhuji explained this, and I tried to understand this basically. So in Bhagavad Gita, we have seen the 13th chapter where there's very clear explanation of what the 24 elements that the whole body is made of, the 20 gross elements and the 3 subtle elements. So you are always guided with everything that's happening in the life by these three subtle elements: the mind, intelligence, and for the mind, intelligence, and ahankara, the ego, basically. Then we always keep saying, like, life after life, whatever we have done this lifetime is not come from, we are in a spiritual state, not because all your effort is not coming from this lifetime, but it's come from the previous lifetime. So I always wondered, I always believed, before even coming to ISKCON, I always believed, like, people like Sachin Tendulkar or Lata Mangeshkar have not achieved what they have achieved in one lifetime. It's come from previous lifetime. But then in our scriptures we have read through, if you are leading a pious life, the next life is going to be either born in a Brahmana family or in a rich family, aristocratic family. So a lot of people who are born in rich family, but why are they not able to continue that state of piousness that they have left previous life? That's because the 24th element is Prakriti, Triguna. Though that is constantly influencing the 3 subtle natures, right? That's what we are saying. The mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, or the mode of goodness. One of these 3 things is constantly influencing the rest of 23 elements of our life. Now, the first, it's influencing the 3 elements. The 3 elements are influencing the 20 elements that are basically the karmendriya, basically. That's what the actions you're doing. The person doing, the act that you are doing is always being influenced by Prakriti, or the Maya, we call it, right? So this is what happened in the shlokas also. here the King Indra, because of his opulences, even though he's in goodness, because by being Devata means he's already in goodness, that's a qualification for Devata. Because of his opulence, that mode of goodness is also is not good enough to beat his ego, the false ego, and then he did what he did. Right, Prabhu? So our major goal in life, in what we are, the state we are in, is how to let this Prakriti influence in such a way that our three subtle elements are always being spent, that are resulting in the gross elements in a proper akarmic way, with akarmic activities. How to do that? That's all. It's a simple logic, basically. How to do that? That can happen only with the mode of 100% surrender and service to God. The mode of 100% surrender and service to Guru. That's the only thing that will take you, the 24th element, the Prakriti, that will take you to beyond the three modes to Suddha Sattva-guna. The Suddha Sattva-guna cannot exist without service and surrender. Without service and surrender to Guru and God. That's all. So as long as we are able to keep that intact, irrespective of what opulences or what other materialistic hindrances or what you call Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Balamani Mataji. Thank you. So Prabhu. So that as long as we are able to conscious effort to keep that intact, I think we'll be in good shape, Prabhu. Sachadev Prabhu, did I confuse you more?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one small question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So here, spiritual master, I mean, this Leela, how should we take, Prabhuji? Because the spiritual master, Brihaspati, getting angry just because Indra disrespected him. Generally, spiritual masters are very merciful, right? So why Brihaspati got angry because Indra did not respect him? Should we consider this like a Leela to teach us, mankind, these living entities, or I mean, how should we take this story?
Honestly, I don't know the answer, Prabhu. The justification for Brihaspati's behavior, I don't know. Probably Lilananda Prabhuji or somebody can explain it better. But for me to take from this, see, there are two things we have to understand, Prabhu. Whenever you are reading Leelas, basically, whenever you are reading Bhagavatam, we are not in the same plane as Indra or Brihaspati, right? They are in a constant mode of goodness, though we all belong to the same materialistic world, basically. So we have to draw our own parallels and see how to apply it in our life with the circumstances we have, basically.
Correct.
Right, that's all is what is it. So to understand the technicality of the story is one thing, but more importantly is the practicality of the story for me. The practically how to put it to my life, basically. So that's what for me the whole Bhagavatam, if at all it is giving me any gift, that is the thing I need to get to and move on, basically. So really understanding why Brihaspati disappeared, probably that's the thing he's teaching Indra. That's what he wants to teach Indra. That's clear in this from the purpose and from the meanings, that he wants to teach Indra a lesson. But is it something that he has not done, his Guru Dharma? Probably it's beyond me to justify it, probably.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Lilananda Prabhuji.
Firstly, thank you, Prabhuji, for such a nice lecture on Guru Tattva. And today is Hanuman Jayanti, right? Who teaches us how to serve a Guru and God. So happy Hanuman Jayanti to everybody. And it's chosen a very, very essential topic. And this topic remains to be essential throughout our spiritual life. Not in the beginning, not until we get a Guru. We get a Guru. After that also this becomes the most important topic. So if you permit me, can I try to answer what he asked, Prabhuji? Yes, yeah, and just adding to what you're saying, you already nicely explained. So Prabhuji, basically, Brahaspati got angry because he could not train his disciple properly. As simple as that. Because see, any guru wants his disciple to make progress in spiritual life. And as part of that, I mean, the goal of spiritual life is to achieve service of Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. As simple as that, right? So Indra's goal also was that, Brahaspati's goal also was that. Of course, there were many types of gurus that Indra had. Brahaspati was dealing with one aspect of being a guru. But as soon as he offended Brahaspati, that means he has equal potential of offending any other guru. Right? He has committed Vaishnava Prad, means he's going to commit more Vaishnava Prad everywhere else. And one of the reasons he left is because he did not want him to commit more Vaishnava Prad. Because what happens is, even though Brahaspati would forgive him, Krishna is not going to forgive him. And that is one of the reasons a lot of Vaishnavas, even when they're insulted, they don't talk back. In fact, they just get up and leave. Because they know that Krishna is watching everything that is happening in their life. And if anybody knowingly or unknowingly misbehaves with the Vaishnava, Vaishnava immediately starts praying that, Krishna, please ignore what has happened with me. You don't have to take it seriously. I'm not taking it seriously, Krishna, by the way, because they are very merciful. Paradukka dukhi. They can't see anybody being punished by God. And God also doesn't like to punish unless that person offends a Vaishnava. So Brahaspati had to leave. It's a Shastric injunction that you have to, when you see Vaishnava Aparadh being committed, you either kill that person or you kill yourself or just leave from that place. Right? So he chose to left from that place. Just leave from that place. And one of the reasons Guru is angry is because he couldn't train him properly. He felt it is his defeat that he could not train him properly and is misbehaving with me. And potentially he might also misbehave with other Vaishnavas. Tomorrow there might be some other great guru who will come to the assembly of Indra and he'll equally behave like that. So that is essence. Basically, Guru sees that if somebody is not behaving with any Vaishnava, see, even within our own satsang, if people are behaving well with me, but they are not behaving well with somebody else, right? How should that make me feel? Or I am behaving nicely with one Prabhuji and I'm misbehaving with another Prabhuji. How will that make my Siksha Guru feel? Right? Will it make him feel nice? Oh, he's behaving nicely with me. It doesn't matter how is he behaving with others. And the simple thing that you start misbehaving with anybody, like one devotee starts misbehaving with you, that's equal situation. Misbehaving meaning disrespectful, without any gratitude, commenting, suggesting when there is no suggestion required. You are pushing yourself, your opinions. This all comes under misbehaving, right? When somebody starts doing that, he has the equal potential of doing it on others also, right? So that's when a Siksha Guru or a Diksha Guru or a Shravana Guru from whom you hear, he will get angry. Angry meaning he gets concerned. And he left from there because he did not want him to offend more. Right? Is that okay? Did it answer some part of it?
Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Now it is very clear, Prabhuji.
Very clear, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Because when I was reading this, all I was looking at from Indra point of view only, Prabhu. I didn't realize it from Guru point of view. I was only trying to get understanding from my point of view, disciple point of view, basically. Yeah.
I'll tell you one very nice thing. Yesterday, my dear God brother, Sanatan Prabhu came, and I spent a whole day with him. It's been like almost 7 years. He's an amazing preacher. One of the preachers that I have seen in my life who really preaches from his heart. And, his levels of service is very young. He is hardly 35, maybe 35, almost 9 years younger to me. But I can see that he is, a million lifetimes ahead of me to go to Krishna. Right. So when he used to preach in Denver, I used to take care of children. So I'll take care of all the children. He'll take care of all the adults, like that. So he is traveling back to Denver today. He was here for his brother's marriage. So I caught him. I said, Prabhu, you can't leave without meeting me. So yesterday, whole day, he was with me, literally till night, 12 o'clock. We were talking from morning, from afternoon onwards till night, 12 o'clock. And he was, and the best part that I liked is, I'm struggling in my spiritual life. Many of us are. I have my own struggles. And wherever I was struggling, like my reading had decreased a lot. My hearing to my own spiritual master considerably was decreased. I'm not hearing as much as I used to hear before. Because I can give reasons of services, I can give reasons of office and all, but the reasons are not good enough. So he came yesterday, and for the first some time, you see, he's a friend also, and a guru also for me, right? So he was very friendly, hugging, going around. We went to VSK. We spent time with the cows. Then we sat down in VSK in the Goshala. Then he started speaking, and then finally he started speaking exactly what I needed to hear. And for 1 minute, I told him, Prabhuji, you don't stop what you're speaking right now, because it looks like my guru is speaking through you. Just finish it, whatever you want to tell. And he exactly told me, Prabhuji, that it was almost like somebody sent with a message, right? And the funny part is, I was the one who called him and got angry on him that, you're not meeting me and going. How can you leave without meeting me? I forced him to cancel all his plans and spend time with me yesterday. So he came with his wife, and beautifully he explained some very essential fundamentals of spiritual life, and how it is so important that we need to hear. How important is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all the three. And and no matter what service we are doing, we have to maintain that connection with Guru. And his presence made me feel that my Guru was with me. He is literally sitting in front of me, and my Guru speaks to him. He has direct access to my Guru. In US, my Guru is very happy with his preaching, right? So he directly calls him and talks to him. How is it going? That level of access he has. And I was asking him, so how does it feel to speak to Gurudev? How does he explain? How does he? So one beautiful thing that he told yesterday, which I think I'll share today, because coincidentally, I never knew that Prabhuji is going to talk about Guru's topic today. And yesterday we were discussing only on that aspect. So I'll tell you two incidents, and then I'll ask a question. You all try to answer, and then I'll answer what he told me. My Gurudev answered. His name is Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I'm not speaking about just Radhanath Swami Maharaj. There are many amazing gurus in ISKCON society who have very good understanding, and they will give very nice conclusions as well. But I'm just sharing this one instance because I spoke to my God brother. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's a big leela, but in simple words, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has this servant called Haridas, not Haridas Thakur. His name is Chota Haridas Thakur. And Chota Haridas Thakur goes to an old woman's house, and he was told by Advaita Acharya to go and get some grain for cooking, because Mahaprabhu is there. We have to cook and serve. So Chota Haridas goes to old woman's house and gets it. And as soon as Mahaprabhu gets to know that Chota Haridas is a brahmachari, he's not supposed to associate with women, and he went to old woman's house. That also is where, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets so grave in terms of standards of sannyas. He says, how can you do this, Chota Haridas? You cannot do that. How can you go to a woman and take, and you have very familiarly spoken to her. Very familiarly spoken to her. That means you're violated. So he banishes him. I don't want to see your face like that. And for Chota Haridas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. If God ignores you, what hope do you have? So he becomes very, very depressed. He's crying, falling on the floor. Forgive me. No. Advaita Acharya comes and recommends, Mahaprabhu, please forgive him. No. Srivas Thakur, every other great devotee around Mahaprabhu, everybody goes and requests Mahaprabhu that please forgive. He didn't mean to. He says no. And Chota Haridas goes and commits suicide. He dies. And still Mahaprabhu is not forgiving. And that the same Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avtara, the same personality was come here to deliver the most fallen. How is not forgiving? He is not forgiving at all. Right? So this is one situation in Chaitanya Charitamrita which bewilders. How strict can a guru be? Even the disciple committed suicide, he is still not forgiving. He just, until he did not forgive, even though he was recommended by everybody. In the same parampara comes Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. When he had to inaugurate a temple in Kolkata, he went to the temple. The whole temple is waiting for his arrival, and there is one brahmachari in the temple who committed an offense and who was asked to leave the temple. And Bhakti, he was an insignificant brahmachari. He was not even like a prominent brahmachari. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes to the temple. He doesn't see that brahmachari. He asks the temple president, "Where is the brahmachari? I can't see him." And they say that he left because he committed some offense. We asked him to leave. He can't be in the temple. So immediately, Bhakti Siddhanta says, "If you are not going to bring him back, I'm not going to eat a morsel. I'm not going to honor anything. I'll sit here until you bring him." So the whole brigade of temple goes and searches him and somehow finds him in Kolkata temple, brings him back. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, hugs him and tells him that don't leave us, So much mercy is being shown. Forgiveness. He forgives whatever offense you already, that is not important. You should stay in association, like that he speaks. So the question is, what is this contradiction between Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not forgiving somebody until he almost commits suicide? He committed suicide. And his own staunch Simha Guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, forgiving. And even an insignificant person, even for the gravest offense, he forgave and he accepted. So what do we see here? The mood of a guru, how is he supposed to react with his disciples' misbehavior? Right? How do we understand this contradiction? Right? Yeah. Some of you have to go to Hanuman temple, so please leave. Giraj Prabhu has told. I have a very urgent work, so I'm not able to come today. I'm really going to feel bad. But I humbly request everyone to go and serve in Hanuman temple today. It's Hanuman Jayanti. So I'll answer because I can't get into a discussion on this, but I'll just answer quickly. If you don't have, so this question was asked to my Guru Maharaj in a lecture, that Maharaj, how do we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not forgive and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur forgive? How is it possible? How do we understand this? And Maharaj gave answer in a very beautiful way. He told, if you don't have the empowerment to liberate anybody, you just have to forgive them. Right? Meaning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can liberate anybody. So Chota Haridas committed suicide, but after that he became a Gandharva. Mahaprabhu liberated him. After that he became a Gandharva, going around Mahaprabhu for the rest of eternity, singing bhajans, and Mahaprabhu was enjoying that. And everybody could realize that it is Chota Haridas who is making Mahaprabhu happy. So Mahaprabhu gave pure devotion service to Chota Haridas as soon as he left his body. So he can do that. He can give liberation. He can give pure love of God. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he can also give. He is Simha Guru, is a pure devotee, but he took that humble position that I am not God to not forgive anybody. Remember this. I am not God to not forgive anybody. That is the mode of a guru. Right? I can't give liberation. If I can't give liberation, what right do I have to be angry on anybody? Right? So so he forgave. Very advanced concept. And in simple words, love means unending forgiveness. That is the definition of love. Right? Love means unending forgiveness. And a guru carries that. And a pure devotee guru carries that. No matter how many times you fall, Guru will always hug you, bring you, and encourage you to not commit that again and go forward. That is the mood of a guru. Right? And when that guru is offended, that kind of a guru is offended, then your spiritual life is finished. Because guru is a Vaishnava, it's Vaishnava Prad. And Krishna doesn't tolerate that. So everything that Indra had, like Prabhuji explained in the past time, became so weak that what to speak of Asuras coming and defeating him. Anybody could have defeated him at that point, because complete spiritual strength is gone. When we commit offenses against devotees, our spiritual strength goes so badly down, Prabhuji and Mataji, that we can't even chant our rounds properly next day. We don't feel any taste in attending satsangs. People stop coming to satsangs because they've done offenses. Knowingly and unknowingly, they have committed offenses. So they lose interest in spiritual life, as simple as that. And they fall down, right? And to bring back somebody who has committed Vaishnava Prad is very, very difficult, because the poison of pride completely allures their consciousness and they simply can't come back. So we should remember this nice class given by Subbarao Prabhuji and Nirupa Mataji. We should remember this. And every morning we should remember how important is Guru in our life. And this Guru doesn't mean only Diksha Guru. Guru comes in different forms, like Prabhuji explained. Our ultimate Guru is Lord Balram. And Balram appears in different ways. Even out of a mouth of a prostitute, he appears. To Balwangal Das Thakur, Chintamani was Balaram, right? So don't judge who can come and teach me a lesson. Guru comes in different forms to remind us what is the most important, and he will constantly guide us to go back to Godhead. So it's a very, very essential. Guru is not a convenient that you call somebody a guru and say, "Is my guru," and continue all the nonsense that we are doing in life. Guru means the one who will come and shake up your life. Completely, your life will be shaken once he comes into your life. Prabhupada came into our life and completely changed the definition of our existence. Right? So that is Guru. And Guru's instructions are in his purports. You don't expect that you'll get a personal instruction from Guru. Only Hanumanji got personal instruction from Ram. There were billions of Vanaras. Not everybody got personal instruction from Ram. Hanumanji got, right? So there can be billions of disciples. There can be billions of Sishyas. But personal instruction is given only to the person who has the capacity to hold that. Our instructions are already there in the lectures, right? Lectures that we hear directly from Guru, or lectures that we hear from the Shiksha Guru, or lectures that we hear from anybody around us. The instruction comes to us. We should be ready to hold it. Right? So, thank you. Sorry, Prabhu, I just wanted to.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, you already said most of the stuff that I wanted to put in the second half, basically.
Sorry, Prabhu. I didn't mean to.
No, nothing. Sorry, bro. Because it's Hanuman Jayanti. How Hanumanji got the Guru, and more importantly, how Hanumanji became a Guru. Balram, there's a nice lecture, Prabhu. I'll send that link. How Balram is a Guru, becomes a Guru to connect people, to connect Krishna with everybody else in the Vrajavasi. Similarly, how Hanumanji became Guru to Sita Devi. Well, kind of in Sundara. That's why Sundarakanda is so beautiful. How he connected Sita Devi with Ram, and how that Sita Devi felt that she is getting the blessing of a Guru in Hanumanji. There's a wonderful lecture basically on that. Until then, Sita Devi was in such a what do you call it? A lone state of this thing. Until she heard the Ramanam from Hanumanji, basically sitting on the tree in Ashokvanam. And then that's how Guru, that's what Guru does to anybody. To say anybody who is longing to reach God, basically. And then how Sita Devi came out of and then how that even that grass, Kusa grass, got the empowerment. The Sita Devi draws in front of Ravana because of the empowerment she got from Hanumanji as assurance that Ram is coming. And how Hanumanji puts himself as the least important monkey in the army of the whole Rama that's going to come to all the whole Vanaras that are going to come to. He stayed it indicates the state of how a guru sees himself with his relationship with God and with relationship with his co-brothers. So Hanumanji is the best of the Vanara, but he says, when Sita asks, like, who are you? He says, I'm the least strong Vanara. If at all there are other Vanaras that are better than me or equal to me. That's how the mind of a guru is, and how that comforts a disciple in understanding the God, or understanding the support that the disciple gets from God, is what that story goes on, Prabhu. So I thought we'll talk a little bit about that because of Hanuman Jayanti, Hare Krishna. But people have to also go, so I think we should conclude here.
Pavanaputra Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Subbarao Prabhu ki jai,
Hare Rama. Thank you so much
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
For putting us in front of Bhagavatam, helping us read Bhagavatam, making us discuss Bhagavatam, Prabhuji. And me and all the people that are attending Bhagavatam classes, they should all be grateful to Lilananda Prabhuji for that reason.
No.
Vijaya
You are the
Mataji
one
is
who is
there.
reading it.
Balamani Mata, Vijaya Mataji, Balamani Mataji is there. I don't know if Sujata Mata is there. Prabhakar Prabhu, Ravati Mataji, they're all here, Prabhu. And we're exactly reading this chapter. So I thought we'll discuss the same thing here, basically.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. So I humbly request everyone to please go to the Hanuman temple near my home avatar. If you are here, today is Hanuman Jayanti. Please help us do a nice Sankirtan there. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Vijaya
I'm leaving.
Mataji, yes, want to say something?
Let Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm leaving, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Subbarao Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Praveen Prabhu. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Vancha
Hare
Kalpataru.
Vasindubhyavcha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo.
Krishna.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Hare Krishna.